All right, hello friends, it is Miss Sarah here again with another video of a really fun project I cannot wait to show. Today we're going to do something called floating chalk, and what's really fun is that it is a little bit of science and a bit of art, which is my favorite combination to show. Alright, so for this project I'm going to show you what you need, some pretty simple materials you probably already have around the house. So to start off, I have a tray full of water, about an inch deep, so not too much. My tray is just like a baking dish. You can use any sort of dish you have at home. It can be a glass one for baking or plastic tray, really doesn't matter, as long as you have enough surface area. Now underneath I have a plastic lid. I use one from top of like a container. This is just to capture any sort of mess, just in case. You know, with little ones, that's just bound to happen. So I would suggest putting something underneath. You can use a cookie sheet too if you have that instead. Alright, so for our art materials, today all you need is some chalk. Now I got this chalk from the dollar store. It's great. It works perfectly for this project, but you can use any sort of chalk you might have at home, which might mean some sidewalk chalk. Sidewalk chalk is usually a little bit thicker, which is also good probably for those little hands. They have something more to hold on to. This chalk in particular is a little bit thin, so with mine I have to be a little bit more careful not to break it. So thicker might be better for your child. The only thing to keep in mind is maybe trying to find chalk that has these nice bright colors that you see here, because the brighter the color, the better for this project. Sometimes with sidewalk chalk it can be a little bit light and pastel-y, so it might not show up as much in your picture. Alright, so we also need some paper. I cut mine just to fit my tray, so you can make bigger prints if you'd like, but mine are just a little bit small, about card size, and I use some thicker paper. I have some watercolor paper. You don't have to use watercolor paper. You can totally use plain white paper that you have at home. Probably also construction paper, I'm sure would be just fine. The thicker though helps keep it so that it dries a little bit easier and you can kind of make more things out of it. You can cut it up or keep it as a card. So if you have thick paper, I suggest using it, but you don't have to. Anything you have at home works. Okay. Lastly, we need something to scrape with. So I have two things that you can choose from. I have a little spoon here, which is great, because you might have this for your child, something their size. It works really, really well. But then I also just have an old ID card, which also works really great, and I'm going to use today. You can use a gift card, whatever is thick enough so that you can scrape the surface up. Okay, so let's start with our first color. Use some blue. What you're going to do is take your chalk and hold it over your tray with one hand over the water. Take your scraper and gently scrape the surface of your chalk. Now, chalk is made up of pigment, which is just a fancy word for saying color. And all that pigment is compressed really tightly together to make chalk. And mine it happens to be in a stick shape. So when you scrape the surface of it, you're actually scraping off the pigment onto the surface of the water. And the pigment is light enough that it stays right on top of the water. It doesn't go underneath, which is what makes this project so cool. I'm going to try another color. So as you can see, you don't need to scrape too hard, just lightly. But if you have a little one that might have a little extra strength in them, like I said, the thicker the chalk, the better it might be for you. So try different kinds. Alright, I'm going to do another color. Try some green. And you want to cover as much of your surface as possible. So what's fun is kind of watching it fly off and land on the water, kind of like it's raining, which is really cool. Alright, now we're ready to make a print. So I'm going to pick up my paper. Now I want my paper to just sit on top of the surface, so I want it to kind of float on top. I don't want to put it underneath, just want it to sit on top. So you can bend your paper if you want to give you a little bit of tension to make it easier. You don't have to. You just gently place it right on top. And you can give it a little bit of a pat. It's okay if a little water gets on there just like that. No worries, it's not going to do anything harmful. And then I'm just going to lift it up. And look how beautiful that came out. I missed a little spot on the bottom, but that's okay. I can always add that later on, but look at that speckle effect. It's so cool. And when it dries, it's even better because all that chalk will absorb into the paper and it won't be as flaky as chalk usually is when you draw with it, let's say outside or on a piece of paper regularly. It's going to stay really, really nice. So I have some dried examples here, almost fully dry, that also came out so cool. What's great is that they're super unique, so every single one you make is going to be unique. You can give them as gifts to your friends and family, you can make a Mother's Day card, or hang them on your wall. Anything you'd like. Tag us in yours. Can't wait to see what you guys make. And I hope you had a really fun time doing this project, because I know I did. Alright, we'll see you next time.